When a fake HOA cop named Jake Raines threatened Michael Thompson's son over a trivial lawn issue, it shook their whole family to the core. Jake's abuse of false authority turned their peaceful home into a place of fear and intimidation. But Michael's call to his father, Judge James Thompson, set in motion a powerful response that no imposter could withstand. Just wait until you hear the shocking twist that brought justice crashing down, and how the truth finally set them free. Michael Thompson's quiet suburban life had always felt safe, a place where his family could relax, and his son Josh could be a kid without worries. But everything changed on a sunny Tuesday afternoon when a stranger knocked on their front door. The man introduced himself as Jake Raines, wearing a cheap uniform and holding a clipboard. He said he was an HOA officer, here to enforce community rules. But it wasn't what he said next that caught Michael off guard. It was the way he said it. Jake's eyes locked onto 12-year-old Josh, who was standing nervously by the porch. "Your lawn is too tall," Jake snapped, his tone sharp and unforgiving. "If it's not trimmed by tomorrow, you'll face fines. And I'm not just talking paperwork. There could be serious consequences." Michael's heart sank. He looked at his son's worried face and felt a wave of disbelief. Who was this man to threaten a child over grass height? It didn't make sense. Michael knew Josh had been busy with schoolwork and just hadn't gotten around to mowing yet. This felt like a personal attack. Jake didn't wait for a response. He handed Michael a printed notice and gave a stern warning before turning away. The chilling message was clear. The rules weren't just rules here. They were weapons. And Jake was ready to use them. Michael stood frozen, watching Jake walk down the street. The sense of shock wasn't just about the threat itself. It was about the coldness behind it. Someone had chosen to make his family a target, and it hit harder because it came at his son. That day, the peaceful life Michael cherished suddenly felt fragile, shaken by a man who claimed authority but showed none of the respect a family deserves. After that first unsettling visit, Jake Raines didn't disappear. Instead, he kept coming back, each time more aggressive, more demanding. What began as a warning soon turned into a pattern of harassment that unsettled Michael's entire family. Every few days, Jake would show up unannounced, pacing the yard with an air of false authority, pointing out every blade of grass he deemed too tall. His voice dripped with impatience and menace, targeting Josh directly. The boy, once full of energy and laughter, started to withdraw. He stopped playing outside and avoided eye contact whenever Jake was near. Michael watched helplessly as his son's confidence crumbled under the pressure. It wasn't just about a lawn anymore. It was about fear. Fear that this stranger could disrupt their home, their peace, with nothing but empty threats. Jake's abuse of fake authority felt like a personal attack on everything Michael had built. The man had no real power, no badge or legitimate role, just a uniform and a clipboard that fooled the neighbors. But the damage was real. Their front yard, once a place of family barbecues and summer evenings, now felt like a battlefield. Every rustle of the wind made Michael's heart race, wondering if Jake would appear again. The man's relentless intimidation had stolen the safety from their home. With each visit, Michael's hatred for Jake grew. It wasn't just anger. It was a deep, burning frustration at the injustice. How could someone wield such control with nothing but lies? And why target a kid who had done nothing wrong? Michael knew he had to protect his family, but right now, all he felt was the weight of helplessness, watching his son suffer under the shadow of a fake cop's cruelty. After weeks of intimidation, Michael's patience finally ran out. Every visit from Jake felt like another punch to the gut. But this time, Michael was determined to stand his ground. The fear and helplessness that had clouded his home needed to end. One afternoon, when Jake showed up again, Michael met him face to face. His voice was steady but cold as he asked, "Who gave you the right to threaten my son? Show me your credentials." Jake fumbled, avoiding eye contact. No badge, no official papers, just a fake uniform and a desperate attempt to sound important. The truth hit Michael like a wave. This man had been bluffing the entire time. Fury surged through Michael's veins. How dare this stranger use lies and intimidation to terrorize his family? There was no excuse for this. Without hesitation, Michael picked up the phone and called his father, Judge James Thompson. When the judge heard what had happened, his voice hardened with anger. "My grandson threatened by a fraud? That's unacceptable." His decades of experience in the courtroom gave Michael a renewed sense of hope. Within days, real authorities stepped in. Jake's web of lies unraveled quickly as he faced the consequences of his illegal actions. No more threats, no more fear. Michael finally felt the weight lifting. The confrontation had turned the tide. Justice was no longer just a word. It was happening. After the authorities got involved, the truth about Jake Rains quickly came to light. The man who had terrorized Michael's family with his false threats was held accountable. Jake was fined heavily for his illegal actions and permanently banned from the neighborhood. The Homeowners Association, embarrassed by the ordeal, officially cleared Michael and his family of any wrongdoing. The notices and warnings Jake had left behind were dismissed as the empty threats of a fraud. For Josh, the relief was immediate and profound. The boy who had once cowered indoors now played freely in the yard again, his laughter filling the air just like before. The shadow that had hung over their home was finally lifted. Michael looked at his family, stronger, closer, and more united than ever. The fight had been exhausting, but justice had been served. The fake cops' reign of terror was over. Peace returned to their quiet street, not because the lawn was perfect, but because respect and truth had won, and that was worth more than any trim grass ever could be.